Collection framework. Okay, before we start with the collection framework, just we are discussing the limitations of arrays. Array is also always we are talking about the collection of elements only. Array is also storing a set of elements, but the limitation as we are discussing, so array is always fixed length. Fixed length means when you declare your array, you need to decide the size of your array. Always array index starts from 0 to size minus 1. If it is 10, it is from 0 to 9. If it is 5, 0 to 4, like that. And array can store homogeneous elements. Homogeneous elements means if it is declared as an integer array, it can store only integers. If it is a float, it can store only float, double, string, whatever it is. It can store only the similar type of an elements, homogeneous elements. But in our application, sometimes we need to store a heterogeneous elements. We must able to store different types of objects into our collection. So that is not supported by arrays. And next is our arrays are purely static in nature. So static means, let us say you declared of size 10, you may not use 10 locations. You are using only 5 or 3 or 2. Sometimes you may need more than size what you declared called maybe 20 or 50 like that. So but your size is static in nature. Once you declared, it is declared. If you wanted to increase or decrease the size of an array, you need to change the code. Means you have to like edit your code and do the changes in your array. Right? That is another limitation. First is fixed length. Second is homogeneous elements only it can store. Dynamically, we cannot increase the size and decrease the size. We cannot grow and we cannot shrink. And another complexity is like any kind of algorithms we apply on an array. For example, you wanted to perform with certain operations called inserting an element, deleting an element, updating an element. Okay, you wanted to search for an element in an array. Okay, you wanted to sort the elements of an array. So every feature where you wanted to work with this array is going to have lot of complexity involved inside, because every array element is stored progressively in a continuous memory locations. When you delete an element, that memory location has to be restructured. When you add an element again, when a new element has to be created here, you have to restructure your array. So that complexity is involved into your array. It is not dynamic in nature. Because of these many limitations, we are moving on to a new topic called as collection framework. In a collection framework, it is similar to your array. Means collection is nothing but it is going to store collection of elements. Right? So collection of elements we are going to store into our collection. But here it is going to provide you the features called, first is it is not fixed length. Right? It can dynamically grow and shrink. You need not give the size for a collection. You will create a collection initially and it can dynamically increase its length and also can dynamically shrink its length. Second thing is collection can store heterogeneous elements. Means I wanted to store set of integers, one string, one date, one customer object, one vehicle object, one employee object. I can store heterogeneous elements into a collection. Always in web programming languages, in object-oriented programming languages, we are working with objects, not the primitive types. So when we are working with an object, we must have a standard mechanism to operate with an object, to store a collection of objects, to iterate a collection of objects, to sort a collection of objects, to search for an object, okay, to insert, to delete. All these operations are more flexible here into collections. So we will be performing with various predefined functions into our collection. Such a way the collection framework is designed. And it supports various architectures. Let us say you wanted to maintain a list of values, you wanted to maintain a set of values, you wanted to maintain key value pairs. All that mechanisms are possible with your framework called collection framework. And here it is purely dynamic in nature and never the memory get wasted. Why? Because whenever you remove the element, immediately the size can be shrinked And when you want to add, keep on adding an elements into a collection, dynamically it can increase its size. It is supporting with the heterogeneous elements, and it is supporting with all predefined functions which are readily available, because the collection framework is designed with lots many predefined interfaces. There are interfaces available, and there are implementation classes available in the hierarchy. So whichever implementation we need for our application, we will choose from this hierarchy, and just we will make use into our application. That is a more flexibility with the collection framework. So that's the reason we are moving on from arrays to collections. Now, what exactly is a collection framework? It's an API. Here we have called java.util package. So far, most of the time we are working with java.lang, right? Now java.util. The super interface what we have is called collection. Don't get confusion. Here it is a collection. It is an interface, only interface, which provides all generic methods here, which can be used by the subclasses. You know interface, right? Interface cannot be used directly. We can't create an object. There's no memory allocated. We cannot use anything from here. But it can be used in a subclass. So this interface has sub-interfaces again, because it is a generic collection which supports all types. There is a specific collections here called as list. There is called set. Okay. And one more is called as map. All these are interfaces again. And in this interface called list, okay, we have subclasses. These subclasses we will be using directly to store the data. But we cannot store here, we cannot store here, because these are interfaces. Clear? Collection is an interface, set is an interface, list is an interface, map is an interface. All these are interfaces, right? Now, then why it is classified as list, set and this map, right? So every collection interface has its own characteristics. That is the reason they have been classified. What is that special characteristics of this list, set and map? We are going to see. So that overall hierarchy is called as a collection framework. There are n number of interfaces available, and there are implementation classes. We have a set of utility classes as well, utility interfaces as well. What are those utility interfaces? We are going to see. So before that, there is a concept called as equals and hash code. You need to explore on this part, and I am expecting some questions from you. What is the need of this equals and hash code? Okay. So the purpose of equals and hash code is whenever you are comparing any two objects, its equality you have to check with, you wanted to compare with, then you will be using with equals and hash code method. Why do we need this comparison means, so in collections framework, most of the time you are going to work with a collection of objects. Let us say I have stored one employee object into this. Again, I am adding another employee object. Do we need to check like whether we are adding a duplicate object or not? It should not allow the duplicate object. Suppose I have an employee, I don't wanted to allow one more employee object with the same data. Then how do system will check that this is the same object coming from? So for that purpose, we will be using called equals method and hash code method. How do we implement this equals and how do we implement a hash code? What is the importance of these two methods? So I am giving this concept for your self-learning. Okay, all of you go through these, solve and walk through certain piece of codes given on the internet, or any self-learning links are given to you, and come to me on questions on this equals and hash code. Okay, so this is very interesting. All of you need to explore on this part, and very, very important. And if you are not clear with, if anybody is not understanding that when you are trying to learn, definitely I am available, so we can discuss it. Okay, next is collection framework. So here is what we are going to start with. Collection means it's a group of objects. It's not a group of data types. It is a group of objects. Okay, and it will provide a standard framework for us with a number of utility classes and interfaces to store the data. There are a number of core interfaces are there, implementation classes are there, and we will be working on certain algorithms. Algorithms means you will not write any algorithm here, but that framework follows internally certain algorithms to perform search and sort operations. So the advantages, what are the main advantages is, if we are going to use with this type of collections, main thing is collections are dynamic in nature. Collections are providing you all the predefined methods to perform all the operations. You don't need to do the scratch level logic to add a value, then delete, update. So this is all predefined. So which makes your application development very rapid, and it is easy to provide a compatibility between the type of collections. Means, let's say I have some data in a set, I can store into list. I have some other data coming into list, I wanted to store into a map. All are interoperable. That interoperability makes your application more faster. Okay, that interoperability is possible, and the effort by the developer can be reduced a lot. Let's say yesterday in a code solving problem, when you're doing some logic, you are taking an array, you are checking with each and every character from that array, you have written a very big logic, right? So that can be simplified by making use of collections. Such collections are available for us, a wide range of collections are available for us, so which makes the Java developer role easy to manage with a collection of objects. So this is the hierarchy we have. The super interface is called as a collection, in which we have a sub interfaces are called as list. We will be starting with a list, and also we have set, and we have got queue, and we have got another interface. So there is no direct relation between this collection and map. Okay, this is later it is added. So we will discuss map topic in the collection topic only, but it is not a direct and a subclass of your sub interface of your collection interface. So here is a map interface. Okay, let us start with the list now. And the purpose of collection, if you see, it's an interface. Okay, let us start with a simple example. And never take collection as your class name. Okay, collection demo or collection app, like that you have to take. I observed many people are making use of the predefined class name as your program names. You should not use that, like string, system, object, you should not take. If at all, if you're taking string means string app, you can say string demo, like that you take it. Next is, here is collection is only an interface. Okay, you cannot create an object for that. And where from we are getting this collection? It is from util package, java.util package. See here, it's an interface. You can't create an object for this. Now let us say C equal to new array list. So what is an array list? What exactly the array list? Let us see here. Collection is a super interface for which we have a sub interface called as list. Okay, list is another interface. Again, for list also you have to take only a reference. Now you can take L equal to your array list. Clear? Now you need to import list. You have to import array list. All are coming from your util package. Directly you can create an object like this, array list, L equal to new array list. You can create it, but the thing is, always I told, right, abstraction you have to show, and you have to show the relationship from where the list is array list is coming from. So we will take an interface reference variable, then we will take an object like this. So here what we can do is, first we are taking a first step. This is first step, creating a reference. This is a second step, creating a subclass object. Third step is, now we will say L equal to AL. Instead of all these things, what we can do in single line, list L equal to new array list. This is a single line step. Now here you can see, first is we have a collection inside the collection we have got first list. List is an interface. In this interface we have got the subclasses called, first class is called array list. So what exactly array list? It is a class now. We can implement array list with, we can store, we can retrieve anything, operations we can do. We cannot do anything over here and over here because they are interfaces. Now, array list is a implementation class of your list where it can store collection of elements. Okay, it is a growable array, and here it can store heterogeneous elements. Means need not you can store with all similar elements, you can store with the heterogeneous elements, and it is growable. Dynamically you can increase and decrease. Okay, and it is faster for iteration. When you are extracting data from array list, you can do it very fast. So this is a array list. Let us practice with that. Let's say I have an array list dot, simply add method. Add is a method which can add with any data type into your array list. Add of a number. L dot add of a string. Heterogeneous elements, observe carefully. Okay, I have stored one integer, one string, and then I wanted to store one date. Okay, and then let's say in our collections we have a class called, okay, vehicle, and in which we have got vehicle ID, certain parameters for your vehicle object. Okay, name of the vehicle, that's all. Now I wanted to create and add a vehicle object into my array list. New of vehicle. See here, one integer, one string, one date, one custom object. It can be a product, it can be employee, it can be student, any type of object you can add into. Now let us see what is there in this list. How it is going to manage, you can see it looks like array, okay, but it is not an array. Date needs to be imported. Guys, you need to practice by using debugging techniques and code review techniques. There are certain warnings, right? How do I check these warnings? Simply right click, go to SonarLint or okay PMD and check for your mistakes available in your code. See here, there should be generic type and you should not use with system.out.println. Those methods you can check. Either you go for a PMD or you go for a SonarLint. Okay, check the code. You can see the program mistake detector violations as well. So here you can see there are some system.out.println, there is unused local variable. Okay, all these things you need to check with. Keep it as a daily practice for you. Okay, code review techniques and as well as debugging. Now it should be a regular practice for you people. Now we created an array list, we are storing some data and we are able to display our data. See here, it is getting stored with okay, one integer, one string, one date object, one vehicle object with an address. This is how array list can store. It is more flexible to store with okay heterogeneous values, heterogeneous objects, not values, sorry. Okay, always everything is inside the array list, it is treated like an object. Whatever you are storing inside a collection, it is only taking an object, not the values. Even if you send a value, first it will be boxed, means it will wrap up, it will make an object and it will store it. Means collection will allow everything in the form of object only. Values are not stored here. So this is how you are able to store heterogeneous objects. You have not given any size, no size specification. Okay. Now let us say what all the other operations are possible with this array list. Okay. So see here, you can find the size of an array list. The basic operations I will explain for one class, remaining you can explore. So this is to display the size of an array list. Next is see here, you wanted to get a particular index value. I wanted to get a second number, second object value. I can get it. Next is contains. Contains means you wanted to check whether that object is available or not, whether it contains or not, contains 3 or contains Capgemini. If it is there, it will say true. If it is not there, it will say false. That is called searching for an element. For a searching, you don't need to apply any your own custom logic. There is a predefined method called contains. Contains all you can check. Okay, get index of means I wanted to know the index of Capgemini or any other value in the list. Okay, so this is called index of. Let us say I have Capgemini for more than 2 times or more than 1 time, whatever number of times you have. Now I wanted to check last index of. Index of means first occurrence it will give. Last index of means it will give a last occurrence of your index value. See here, last index of. Last index of which element you wanted to check with. You wanted to check for a 3, you can give the integer 3, or you wanted to check for Capgemini only. Yes, you can do that. That is how the utility methods are possible called. Add is to add an element, get is to get an element, contains is for checking whether it is available or not, size is to give the size. Likewise we have, and then called clear. Clear is to remove all the elements of your array list at once. Clear? But when you do clear, you don't need to give system.out.println. Without that you can clear it. But we will not do that now, as of now. Clear means the whole object array list, all elements get removed at once. And next is empty. You wanted to check whether it is empty or not. It will say true if it is really empty. If not, it will say false. Remove. What element you wanted to remove it? Index wise you want to remove? Content wise you wanted to remove? Yes, you can remove second element or third element. You can provide an index so that that particular index value get removed. And next is, see here, you can set for a particular index, particular new object. I wanted to set a third position, some new value. I can set it. So this is the utility methods you have. You can have a replace as well. Replace. Okay. You can replace all the elements of your array list with a new set of elements. I'm just going for a new kind of operations now. First let us see the output of each and every method. So there is a size, there is an extracted element, index, okay, and then contains true, okay, then index of, last index of, is empty is false, and if you wanted to get remove of third element, it is removing this element. This is all the operations can be done with. What the other operations we can do? Let us say I have another array list called new array list of, okay. First array list is L, right? This is L. Now I am taking L1 and into which I have 3 numbers. L1 dot add of L1 dot add of, okay, some 90. Now this here you can take list L1 equal to new array list, right? 3 numbers with a new list we have L1. So L1 is a new list, L is a existing list. We can also perform with certain operations called as bulk operations. So when we add and remove, we are performing with a single element at a time. Now we can perform with the bulk operation. What are that bulk operations? One is called add all, okay, remove all, retain all, contains all. These operations are called as bulk operations. What is this bulk operations? Let us say L dot add all of L1. Means this L1 is together at a time, all these three elements are copied into the first array list. Right? Afterwards, after we add L1, let us check with L. What is the status? See here, along with the previous elements, this is added with the three elements. Okay, this is add all. Afterwards, L dot remove all. You can perform with the bulk operation called remove all of L1. So in most of the logics, you can make use of such bulk operations. Okay, so after remove all, we have not printed, right? So you print it. See, first status is after adding, then after removing it. And one more interesting operation is called retain all. Retain all means, okay, it will retain the common elements, means it will just perform with intersection operator. Okay, it will retain the common elements and the rest of the elements it is going to remove. For example, we should not practice with remove all now. First we have added, okay, the common elements are available, then we will check with retain all. See here, first we have added, there are some common elements, right? So now with the retain all, it is going to retain that three common elements of L and L1 and rest of the elements it is going to remove. That is called retain all. Next is called, okay, let's say we retain all also we will comment. Now what we will do is L is added into this. We have checked by printing it. Now I wanted to check with L dot contains all of L1. Means if all the elements of L1 are present in L, it will say true. So let us print whether it is true or false. It is true. Because we have added, it is available, so it will say true. If any one of the element of L1 is not present, it will say false. This is called bulk operations. Right? And next, all these operations you see, we are able to perform those many operations with all predefined methods only. That is the strength of collection framework. Okay. Next is finally, like how do we extract the elements from a array list? Here if you can observe, everything is available in the form of an object. In the form of an object means finally when you wanted to share this array list, you can check system.out.println of L. What it is printing we will see. L means it's an object, right? It's an array list object. It is just printing all together as one single object. Okay. Now instead of that one single object, I wanted to perform some logic with this second element, fourth element, third element. I wanted to iterate one by one. Then how do I do that? One is called for each loop. What exactly is a for each loop? We have done with arrays, right? Here is every element we extract from our collection is object. So return type is object. O colon. Your array list name is L. Now you can print your elements like this. Okay, this is your input, that is array list. This is your extracted value every time, that is a value you are going to print it. Here simply we will say that using for each loop, enhanced for loop. Right, earlier we are able to print like this, like a single object, but now we are able to extract one by one. If any operation you wanted to do, you do with that. Okay. Next, instead of for each loop, there is a predefined interface is available in collection framework called iterator. Iterator I equal to your array list object dot iterator is a method. right side one is a function, left side one is an interface. Okay, you need to import that. Iterator need to be imported. Now, what is the purpose of this iterator is, let's say you have got an array list values. Now you have to iterate one by one. Okay. If you use enhanced for loop, again it will take some time to iterate, right? If you have an interface directly, all these elements come through this interface one by one. That is the purpose of this iterator interface. This is mainly used for iteration purpose and it is faster. Before that, we have got another interface called enumeration. Enumeration is very slow, used with legacy classes, but now we are using iterator. Iterator is underlying data, underlying collection is L, means array list. On top of that, we are passing array iterator method. It is going to iterate your elements. Now we are going to get the elements one by one. How do we process it? I dot has next is a method which will be true as long as the data present in your iterator. And how do we display each and every element? I dot next. I dot next is a method which will give you one by one all the elements. Now we will say this is by using iterator. Either you can go for each or you can use iterator. Both are used with your collections. So you can see here, you can observe the list of elements are getting printed by using iterator. Similar to your for each loop, the output is same. Whichever you are comfortable, you can use with. So this is the basic operations are possible with your collection interface. What is that? How to add, how to remove, how to search, how to sort, how to iterate. All the process is available. All these methods what we are using here is coming from this interface itself. Means all those methods are defined here, but just we implemented here. But we also have all these methods over here. And automatically they are available in the list. They are available in the array list. Right? Now, in this array list, okay, we have seen like it's a collection of elements which can store heterogeneous objects and which is provided with this many utility methods. But as it is a very first session, like we are practicing with simple data, but in real time we will never store this kind of data. Always we will work with an objects. We will store only the objects into this array list. We will be working with objects. Let us say your case study is banking management system. You may store collection of accounts, collection of customers, collection of bank details. Likewise, you will be working with. So as you are the beginner for this, first you are learning what are the characteristics of that collection, how do they each and every function behaves. That is what you are learning now. Now, the next type of an implementation class for your list. First we have seen only array list, right? There is a next type of a list called linked list. It is also a subclass of list, subclass of your collection. And here also we will store a collection of objects only. All the operations are same. Few changes is, now I am just making this as linked list. Clear? And there is no change in your implementation. Just we need to import linked list now. This is a class. And all the methods are same. There is no change at all. Let's say L is now linked list, not an array list, right? But now we are able to copy an array list into a linked list. L is a linked list, L1 is a array list, right? Still we are able to copy array list into linked list. As I said, all these collections are interoperable. This can be stored into this or this can be stored into this. But whenever we copy that, the target object type characteristics are applicable. Means now L1 is of type this, L is of type this. When we copy L1 into this, now all those elements are applicable for with your linked list features, right? Now, no change in the methods, no change in the output. You can see the same result, though it is a linked list. Everything is same. Then what is the difference, right? So here is linked list is an ordered collection and internal implementation is using pointers. Because of that, we are able to add an element before the list, after the list, which is not possible in the array list. Array list is internally like an array. Okay, so you can store from index wise 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that, and certain operations you can do index wise, like removing an element, containing of an element, such methods. And you can say that as linked list is implemented by using pointers, when you perform certain transactional statements, this is faster than array list. So whenever you wanted to process your list, likewise, you wanted to add an element before the first element, after the last element, such methods are possible here in addition to the existing methods which are there in the array list. So in such a scenario, we will go with the linked list. Otherwise, the methods are same. So what all the new methods are available in this linked list is, you can see here now. If you create an object like this linked list, you can observe the newly added methods. L dot, see here, add first, add last. This is not possible in array list. Clear? This is only specific to linked list. Next is called remove first, remove last. And then peek, peek first, peek last. Poll, poll first, poll last. This is all like pointer related operations, right? Remove first, remove last. This is an additional methods apart from all the existing methods what we have discussing so far. And internal characteristics wise, this is faster for certain operations like add, delete, such operation. This is faster. Iteration wise, array list is faster, right? That is the differences between array list and linked list. And further, we have one more implementation in the list called vector. Vector is very similar to your array list, but the thing is it is synchronized. Just like string is not synchronized, string buffer is synchronized, because of that string buffer is slow, right? Similarly, vector is slow because it is synchronized. So this is useful in multi-threading context. When we are using with a multi-threading programming, we can make use of vector. And the vector is have with certain few methods called, we can know the capacity of the vector, we can ensure the capacity of a vector, memory capacity we can know with the vector, and it is used with the legacy data types, legacy objects. Okay, so now just I'll comment this, and what I do is I can take list L equal to new vector. Vector needs to be imported, and all the methods are same, no change. Vector, list, everything is again interoperable. All methods are same, so you'll get the result also same. But performance wise, this is bit slow, right? And what all the different methods are possible with this vector? See here, when you create vector object, see the methods. All methods are same except capacity method. Capacity will give you the size of your memory, and then ensure capacity is another method. That's all. All remaining methods are same, right? That is about a vector. And in a vector, first is capacity and ensure capacity. These methods are new. And here in linked list, the methods are add first, add last, peek first, peek last, poll first, poll last. Those methods are possible. Remove first, remove last. These are additional methods. In addition to that, with the vector, there is another feature called instead of iterator, we can also have one more interface. You may come across some MCQs questions and all. So enumeration E equal to, enumeration is also used for enumeration is also used for iteration. So your array list of your vector object dot you import that enumeration. Your array, vector object is I dot elements is a method. It has been deprecated, so we are not supposed to use this. L dot, okay, elements is a method, right? So just like iterator, L equal to iterator we are using, we can use this. Now the methods are few changes, like E dot has more elements. This is somewhat the lengthy methods, okay. And next is here you can print the element by using next element. This is for only applicable with vector, okay, using enumeration. So performance wise enumeration is very slow, okay, whereas iterator is faster, and methods are different from vector to enumeration. Here is has next next, and here is has more elements and next element. And next is another important difference is in an iterator removing is possible, but enumeration will not support remove. Means while iterating itself, let us say you wanted to check if I dot next is equal to 3. Whenever the value or the object is 3, you wanted to remove it. Let's say you can remove it, okay. You can say I dot remove. This method is possible. So here is I dot next you need to check with. What you do is you are getting into okay integer I1 equal to I dot next, because I dot next will give you an object and this is going to be an integer. So what you need to do is you have to convert that into integer. Object is higher range, right? You have to convert into lower range, so you have to take explicit typecasting. After you convert object into integer, now you can compare that integer value. If I1 is equal to 3, means somewhere you have 3 into your list, right? Whenever there is a 3 present in your list, you wanted to remove it, so you can say I dot remove. Removal is possible. Otherwise else you can print it. So while printing already every I dot next you are converting into I1, right? Now you can print only I1 instead of I dot next. Clear? So in this case removing of some number is possible by checking with the value, but here you don't have such removal methods, right? That is the difference. And this enumeration is only possible with your okay only possible with your vector. You cannot use it for okay other types of collections. Here it is throwing an exception, right? So why it will throw is every time we are getting a I dot next value, we are trying to convert into integer. When it is integer type it will convert, but when it is not an integer, for example there is one date, there is one string, it cannot be converted into integer, right? It will throw an exception called typecasting exception. It cannot cast. The class string cannot be converted into integer. That is a casting exception will be raised. But just I am trying to explain you how do we perform remove method. In this scenario, your list should contain all integers.